it seems to me that myth and maybe story in general is actually how our brains organize information and how
Yes.
it's how we process the world that's around us, how we come to understand it. And so when I think about story and myth, the only separation I have between them is that everybody's aware of stories and stories, everybody reads books, they watch movies, people can pick out stories in songs and in poems. But the thing that I think a lot of people don't often recognize is that stories are actually how their own psyche is orienting itself in the world. And when we have a story that we're not fully conscious of, being the playbook that we're actually living by, I think
Yeah.
that's what I would call myth.
Yeah, I think that's a great definition, and I think that the I have ongoing conversations with people about whether or not myth can be personal, and I don't think it can be. I think actually myth is this big thing that surrounds us, and I think we can key into it and kind of dive into that current. But I think we are always sitting in story. And I did for a number of years a radio show that I'm at some point reconvening as a podcast called Myth America because I like bad puns. And the way I framed that was these are the stories that we tell and the stories that tell us. And so we are being as told by the narratives that we're being caught by and that we're repeating, we're being made by those stories as much as they are as we're making them, as we're telling them. And I think that mythic stories sit in that place where we're often not necessarily overtly conscious that that's what we're doing. And there's a wonderful kind of connectivity to that, I think. And to me, I spend a lot of time thinking why study myth? And there's a lot of conversation about myth being a lie, myth being irrelevant, myth being the thing we don't want to do in a rational or at least self-perceived rational culture. And I think it's because that's sort of what pulls me into the metaphor piece, because I think it's a way of opening up our what feel like really specific experiences and beginning to understand what can open and what can happen when you actually start to see those as being things that are there's commonality there and there are ways into working metaphor and story that can then shift your understanding of stuff. And so for me, myth is very much about learning how to ask good questions rather than find an answer. I have a basic feeling that the minute we go, oh, we're done, we found the answer, that's it, then we stop thinking and we're not in the process anymore. So for me, it's this kind of never-ending story, literally.
Yeah,
And
I
so it's fun, yeah, right?
yeah, it's actually a lot of fun, and once you can see it, it makes everything a little bit more interesting. To be honest, you could watch a bad movie,
Yeah.
a boring movie, and see the myth in it, and that alone can help you, I don't know, enjoy it more. There's like a little bit more analysis. You can see the metaphor.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you that I don't think most people are conscious of the fact that they're thinking in stories. And I don't think that I don't think that anybody can actually choose the story that they're going to play or live out. And I think that, in a weird way, I would say that we don't even invent stories. I'm a writer, and so I write stories, but I don't think that those are my stories. I think that these are motifs, as Joseph Campbell would call them. These motifs are, I would almost guess that they're so ingrained in us, they're such a part of us that there's somewhere on a genetic level where the stories are implanted in us deep down inside, and we just play them out both as individuals and as societies. And I think that you see that over time. You see the stories change as society changes, as culture changes, but the underlying narrative is actually the same. It almost seems like it's just the context of the story that's changing or getting kind of a new facelift based on the environment.
Yeah.